Hey Eurovision fam, it's Alesia and Michelle. I am here because we got to talk about these ballads. We have a ton of amazing ballads this year at the Eurovision Song Contest. And so of course I had to ask Twitter, what their favorite ballad was.
Hey, what, Eurovision 2022, I got a new video, Alesia, Michelle, I'm ready to go. Eurovision fam, are you ready for the show?
Hey, if you've never been to my channel before, welcome. If you love the Eurovision Song Contest, you definitely want to make sure you like this video and subscribe because we get to have conversations like this. I will also be on the ground in Turin, Italy, so you don't want to miss any of that content I have coming up. But without further ado, let's get into this ranking video. This isn't like my personal ranking. I really posed the question to Twitter, which I love doing because, on Twitter, I don't know, I think it's because some people aren't even themselves. On Twitter, they're hiding behind like this avatar that they can just like give it to you completely honest and anonymous. But then also too, I think some people just like hop on Twitter just to like troll. So that's also, I think, a very real thing that happens on Twitter. But honestly, I was really curious to pose this question because as we got into this year, I think people were surprised at the amount of ballads that we had this year at Eurovision. I think people were thinking that we were going to have more rock songs than ballads, but I actually think it makes sense. We know that when you sort of do something in the genre or something that's an esque, close to the previous winner, it isn't necessarily putting you on the best footing because obviously people are going to compare you to the song that won. And then also it's a challenge because you really kind of got to be better than the song that won. So it's interesting that I think instead of us getting a whole bunch of rock entries, I think we got some delegations that were just like, who I think never thought that Måneskin was going to win. And I think they had all these kind of preconceived notions that like, well, rock isn't going to win at the Eurovision Song Contest because it's the Eurovision Pop Song Contest, which we know that not to be true. But I think it sort of threw them into a tailspin because a lot of the things that I think some of these broadcasters and some of even the juries think does well at Eurovision ultimately didn't in the grand scheme of things. Native language, boom. Rock, boom. Rock in the form of Finland and Italy. I think even an entry like Go Away, just sort of out there, electronic, but then sort of underground and metal and like just this sort of urban feel of a song with sort of pairing also the traditional, like a little bit of white voice and everything. It just was so interesting that we got to see a lot of those songs excel last year. So yeah, I think it threw some of these broadcasters for a tailspin, and I think as a result, then folks decided to get a little bit safer. But I will say, I think that with some of these entries, they're not playing it safe. They're ballads, and I think there's a warmth and comfort to them without them feeling like safe and restrained and sort of safe in a blah way. I will say that. I'm just gonna hop out and mention this, that when I posed the question, the notable thing that I would say out of asking Twitter was literally no one mentioned Croatia. Not one. Not one person. Now, I don't know if that's because people were like, well, is it a ballad? And I'll say, to me it is. It's like a country pop ballad. This is not upbeat. I don't even really think it's straight up country. It's not folk. I think it is a ballad to a certain degree. So maybe some people didn't mention it because, they just didn't think it fell within this category. But unfortunately, I think a lot of people didn't mention it because I think Croatia is becoming forgettable for a lot of folks. I don't think that Croatia will be qualifying. I don't think it's a bad song, but I think in the mix of what we have this year, clearly it isn't standing out. I mean, literally no one mentioned it, so that was kind of notable to me. So I'll just say this is our bucket of songs that weren't really mentioned a lot, so they didn't have enough points, and then we'll get into like our official ranking. So really pulling up the back, Azerbaijan basically had like 2 mentions. So I mean, we know that Azerbaijan can stage, but typically they got a little bit more hype behind them. So it made me a little bit nervous for them that it was like mentioned twice and like that was it. Next up, Belgium. Now I'm not gonna lie, I don't see Belgium as a ballad, personally. I don't see it as a ballad. I could see how some would see it as a ballad. But yeah, you know, Belgium was low here. But again, for me, I just don't think I would put Belgium in this category. Belgium is an R&B song. It's R&B. And I wouldn't even say that it's an R&B ballad from my perspective. Next up, we have the UK. The UK was mentioned. I don't see the UK as a ballad, personally, but I think it's a great song. I could see how some people would put it in a ballad category, but I don't know. It's something too rousing about it for me. I just think that the UK really is just a good, straight-up, like, pop song. You know, maybe we could say a pop rock song, but it's just a good, and I hopefully well-delivered pop track. Oh, and then I will say one person, or I think we had 2 mentions of North Macedonia, which interesting enough that North Macedonia was voted as our most underrated song. And although I do think North Macedonia is an R&B song, I think it is like an R&B ballad. I would put North Macedonia in an R&B ballad space. But Belgium has a little bit too much of a downbeat. Like, I could hear Belgium in the club. You know what I'm saying? North Macedonia, you wouldn't hear it in the club. And so that's why I'm kind of like, I would lean to it being a ballad. But like I said, it was only mentioned 2 times, which is probably not a good thing for its chances. But then again, like I said, resoundingly, when I asked Twitter about the most underrated song this year, North Macedonia won. So maybe some people just aren't putting North Macedonia in the ballad category. And again, like I said, I probably would be. All right, okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 songs that are like really in the running. And let me just go on and note that of the lower tier, Montenegro won the lower tier. So that one had like 6 votes. So shout out to Montenegro. With 9, technically 10 votes, Australia. Now I played all of the songs for my mom last week, and Australia was one of the songs that stood out to her. She really, really liked it. I think what carries this song through ultimately is the vocal performance that we're going to be getting on the stage. And I don't know if we're going to get all of our sad boys in semifinal 2. I think it's possible. I think that it is very possible we will get Azerbaijan, Australia, and Poland advancing. My instinct tells me, you know, that's rare for that to happen. Someone will fall by the wayside. The person I'd be willing to have fall by the wayside would be Azerbaijan, because Sheldon is just getting me. With Australia, I love the song. I feel the emotion in it. I believe him wholeheartedly. And some of y'all don't get it. Some of y'all don't feel it. Sorry, can't relate. I just can't relate. I just don't see how someone can't be hit by this just off the vocal performance alone. This is a vocal tour de force. It's a vocal tour de force that I think the juries will be appreciating. And like I said, my mom, it was one of the songs that completely stood out to her. It completely stood out to her. Now, my mom does love a message song. Just throwing that out there. So, just saying. Next up, we have Poland. So our sad boys are sort of next to each other. Australia and then Poland just edging out. I will say, I was expecting to see Poland a little bit higher. In this mix, I definitely was expecting to see Poland just a touch higher in this mix. But, I mean, Poland is here. Poland has had staying power. The people who really like this song, I think still really like it. And that's powerful. Because sometimes I think even in the bubble, folks can wane on a song. And I don't really see that happening that much with Poland. The people who liked it from the beginning, it's staying there. Now, I don't think that people still have it as like their winner. But I don't think that it has left the top 10 of tons of folks. So that's kind of impactful, and I think that that's important. And again, I think we're going to see Poland advance. The only way I see Poland not advancing is truly if the staging is just like super bland or atrocious. I mean, they would have to really, really fumble the bag because the vocal is gonna be good. The vocal's gonna be good. And I think for a lot of Europeans, this song feels current. To me, this song isn't completely current. To me, I've heard this, like old, but I understand for a lot of folks, there's something really inventive and fresh about it. For some people, and again, I mean, the vocal performance. The vocal performance is just gonna be there. It's gonna be right. But if they stick him in a sad suit behind a mic and he does not move and work the stage, I would be deeply concerned. I would be deeply concerned for its chances. Next up, we have Portugal. Portugal not on the top end, which I'm not gonna lie, I thought that Portugal was gonna be higher. When I first asked the question, I felt like I saw a ton of responses for Portugal, so it was making me feel good about it because I love this song. I really love this song. It is just so modern and current. We need more songs like this at Eurovision that just feel like what is happening today on the charts. I just feel like this song is that. There is an element of this song, and I talked about this in my video, of like this warmth. And I love how the stands, I'm not going to say the fans, but the stands of this song just then started acting super pretentious and super condescending in the comments. I was like, you know, it's something about this song that just makes me feel like warm. You know, it's like a warm blanket and like the sun. And, you know, the pretentious comments of kind of like,
do you even know what the song is about?
Yeah, I know what the song is about. I have experienced this song 4 times in my life because all 4 of my grandparents have passed away. I was super close to my last grandparent who passed away was my grandmother. Was so close to her that I literally named my daughter after her. So I know what the song is about. I think even in loss, when you are in a state of mourning, especially when you are thinking of all those memories of that lost one, there can be a warmth that comes over you and a comfort in that loss. And that's sort of what I was reflecting. Portugal, you know, it's a country by the sea. So much so that was like a theme throughout our logo for Eurovision that year. So I mentioned the California sun because I was like, there's something about this that's just like the vibe of like the California sound, which was literally a musical like moment. Lots of bands were like traveling to California to sort of like be a part of the sound. And I'm reflecting that because it was like an era of sort of like free love, collaboration, and everything. So a woman like on stage with her friends, you know, there's an ease about the song. So those are all the elements. I like the song, and y'all were trying to fight me in the comments. It's not how you win people over. I think with Portugal, the challenge is how they translate it to the stage. The staging for the Black Mamba was great last year. It was great. The minute I saw the rehearsal, I was like, I always had a path for this to qualify, and now I'm just like, oof. I can see it happening. I can see it happening because the staging was just right. The staging was just right. It was like, oh, this is it. This is it. And the song was so good. So with that said, Portugal is definitely, you know, I think the momentum is there for them to make it over, but I think the way that they decide to translate it on stage will dictate how it does in the final. But also, too, if the staging is not right, I could see Portugal missing out. I could see them missing out, I guess. Because it's possible. It's possible. Although semifinal 1, I do think isn't as competitive, and I do feel it has more chances to qualify than not, we have seen countries truly fumble the bag. But I'm not getting the vibe that Portugal is going to do that. All right, next up, Italy. Italy, right sort of in the middle of the pack. And we're going to be getting into our top 3 after this. So Italy was like 4th, and then we have our top 3 after this. I'm going to tell y'all right now. Italy just has staying power with me. It's something about when that song comes on in the playlist of Eurovision where the vibe is just instantly reset. Whereas some of the other songs, it's like, oh, I'm on a journey and I'm kind of like sticking with it. For me, Italy, it's just like it comes on, the vibe is reset. we're just on a new path. We're on a new path. I think what people in the fandom forget is that we have to go back to what we experienced when we first heard the song. And I think with Italy, when you first hear it, it's something about it that just sticks. It's something about this ballad that, yes, it's so traditional. It feels so Italian, but there is an element of it that feels urban. That feels urban, and that urbanness makes it both accessible and makes it feel current. And I think a wider audience of folks will appreciate it more so than maybe some of us in the bubble give it credit for. Now, next up, I will say for our top three, the top three ballads at Eurovision 2022, there was a little bit of a gap. When we move on to our top three, we've got gaps. So it was like resounding folks who were like really throwing their weight behind. And in third position is Greece. And I just want to say, Greece has like popped up in a lot of these, and some of the categories that were not so good as far as the staging. But I think the benefit of the fact that Greece keeps popping up is it's on people's minds. People are thinking about Greece. People are checking for Greece, and I love that Greece is in the top three in this bucket, because I do think that Greece has the opportunity, if they stage this right, to really do something on the stage. I don't know if I'm fully feeling like the winner potential at this point, because it's quiet. We haven't had a pre-party performance. But y'all, I've got so much faith in this. I truly think that at the grand final, this could end up being our jury winner. Her live vocal there is a warmth to her tone, a fullness that rarely happens with young performers, because she's not that old. She's not like a teenager, but there is a fullness and a depth to her vocal, a weight to it when she comes in. And the way that this song starts out, and I think the lack of faith that some folks in the fandom have for sort of that opening part of the song, I'm like, this is the moment that her vocal will shine, because she has that weight. There's nothing thin about that vocal, you know. It's just a fullness and a weight to it that juries will appreciate. The production on the song is just modern. It's very Nordic, Scandi pop. Sigrid is like a big star that I would kind of compare almost the production value of this. And again, it's a package that is current. It feels modern. I am really, really hoping that Greece pulls it together. I would love to see Greece win for this. I wouldn't mind that. And we're gonna get to my winner potential videos, because I think that's sort of a different conversation. But the fact that Greece is on people's minds and people are checking for it, that's a good sign. Next up, our top two. Who do you think is next? It's the Netherlands. It's the Netherlands. The Netherlands is good. It's really good. And what was it? After 2015, the Netherlands, you know, they have their mess together. The staging won't be that bad. The staging is going to be something good. I already saw, we've seen now 2 live performances that Steen has done. This song is going to be delivered well on the stage vocally. Just get that out of the way. It's going to be delivered well vocally. It's going to sound like the track. That's checkbox 1. The Netherlands, they don't really fumble the bag when it comes to the staging, so we can check that box. We could literally have her on the stage, sat down on the floor with a spotlight and a black and just a whole black stage, and her sing this song, and it will qualify. It will qualify with some good styling, which we've already seen. The styling has all been good, so the styling is not going to be distracting. This song is really, really good. And low-key, it's going to come top 3 with the juries in the semi. Greece's staging could best it. Because the thing about Greece's song is there's an epic quality to Greece's song that the Netherlands doesn't have. You know, the Netherlands song is just a little bit more low-key. So the Greece could best them when it comes down to the final numbers and when we talk about it. But the Netherlands doesn't have to do a lot to best Greece either. You know, I think that both are just quality. It's either good. I think the Netherlands or Greece are going to win the jury in semifinal 1. I feel that, yeah, I feel that heavy. That I think one of them will take it. I'm giving the edge to Greece right now, but who knows? The Netherlands song is just great. It's just great. And I love all the people who were doubting because the song was going to be in Dutch. Mostly Dutch people were like, I don't know. I don't know if we'll make it through with the song in Dutch. She's proved all y'all wrong. This is great. Send more songs in Dutch. I'm here for it, okay? Number 1 ballad of this year. Are we even surprised? It's my girl, Cornelia. Cornelia, hold me closer, although you leave before the sunrise. Might be bleeding, but don't you mind, be fine. Yeah. For the people who don't get the song, okay, I get it. Do I think that Sweden will be our top performing ballad this year? It could. It could. I think Greece and the Netherlands are right on Sweden's heels though, and could very easily knock that down once we see the staging. Because the thing is with Sweden, we've pretty much seen what they're going to do staging wise. So I think that Greece and the Netherlands, Greece more so than the Netherlands, but both Greece and the Netherlands have a little bit of the surprise factor that they can kind of pop out and make people just go, oh, it's over. It's over. Also, you know, Greece knows what their competition is. They basically have an idea, so it's like, okay, we just have to do something, you know, like, I hate to say like better, but something different, something that makes us stand out against this one. Because Sweden, we know what they're kind of going with. Y'all, I love this song. I love the lyrics of the song. I love the production. I believe Cornelia. And that's the thing with a ballad. When we talk about a ballad, it has to be believable. We have to believe these folks. We have to be able to latch on to what it is they're selling to us. We have to buy into this narrative. Cornelia, I believe her wholeheartedly. I know that she's been there. I know that she's experienced this. And we feel that and we see it on the stage. Sweden, I'm not surprised, won, you know, top ballad. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, it's funny because literally the sad boys, I hate to say it, y'all are out, okay? Poland, Azerbaijan, Australia, and Loki, we're not even talking about Switzerland. The boys ain't winning it this year. The girls, the women, the ladies are coming with it, okay? For our top 3 of the ballads, what? Greece, then the Netherlands, then Sweden. So I'm loving that. For our top ballads, could we have all the women on top? I'm here for it. I'd be here for a Sweden win. I'd be here for a Netherlands. Well, actually, I probably wouldn't be here for a Netherlands year just because, you know, the 2 times, you know, maybe. And some people say, well, Italy won last year. And it's like, yeah, but they've been coming with quality for a while. I'd be fine with them getting one more. And then we move on. And then we move on from them. But no, I love to see my women out here on top. The girls, you know, the girls winning this ballad race. Because really, we've got a lot of ballads this year, y'all. And the men are coming with it. The men, the boys are coming with it. But look, when we look to Twitter, what Twitter said. No, the women are trumping the men in this one. What do you think? Who's winning out on the ballad race this year? Is it the men or is it the women? Who's winning out for you? Talk to me in the comments below. What is your favorite ballad this year at Eurovision 2022? Talk to me in the comments below. This is a conversation, and you know what? I'm so excited for Eurovision 2022. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. I have so much content coming for you. Bye.